Hi everybody, Deanna here, and we're going to be working on week 8 of our 52 weeks of Christmas, and we're going to be making our own shadow box. It's a 6 by 6 by 1 3/4 inch deep, and we are going to do it, we're just going to do one in the white. This is medium weight chipboard. I've pre-cut a 6 by 6 inch piece, two 1 3/4 inch by 6 inch, and two 1 3/4 by 5 15/16. Now the reason these are a 1/16 inch shorter is because they've got to be inside of the other two on top of the box, or on top of your 6 by 6 piece. So that's why those are just a little bit smaller. I have also pre-cut 1 inch strips and then scored them down at 1/2 inch. Pre-taped them. I've got 4 that are 6 inch long, and I've got 4 that are 1 3/4 inch long, and everything is pre-taped, pre-scored, and ready to go. So we're going to start by taking one of our pieces, and we want to go up to our score line but not past it if we can help it there. Whoops. There we go. There we go. And we want to make sure that our 6 inch pieces are at opposite ends, and then also that your 5 15/16 inch ones are at opposite ends. So we're going to remove our other side of the score tape, and what we're going to do is we're going to tip this up so our score tape is facing down. We're going to take our 6 inch piece and we're going to lay that right up against our chipboard. Right up against there. And we're going to press that down. And then when we come back, we can press the side down. All right. So let's do our other 6 inch piece. And it's easier just to do the likes together. So we're going to take this and we're going to bring it up to our score line. Whoops. Oh, yet. There we go. Give that a good press. Remove our other piece of tape. You can make these boxes any size you like, but if I make them too much bigger, then I put these on the inside also for support. So we're going to furnish that. We're going to stand that up, grab our other 6 inch piece, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to run that right up against our chipboard, lay it flat, make sure it's even, press it down. There we go. All right, so now we got 2 sides. So now we're going to do our 15/16 inch. Bring our chipboard in. And I am only removing half of my tape right now. I want to keep the other half covered so I don't get all goopy or... Alright, press down, finish. There we go. And the same process, stand it up. Bring this in. Just make sure it's... Now you're going to have a little bit on each end. So try to even that up. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me see if I can bring that in a second so you can see just that. You can see the white on each end, and it's just a tiny bit. Just about, it's like half of, like a 32nd. There we go. Turn that down. Turn it. Our last one for the long pieces. It takes longer, I think, to get everything prepped and cut than it does to actually build it. All right. All right. Now this piece already has a couple of pieces of tape on it because I had started the video and goofed up. So, whoops, and I'm going to do it again. So we're going to stand it up. But that's not going to hurt anything. And we're going to make up the difference here on each side. So they're even. Press it down. And by putting that box up like that, by putting it up like this and bringing it into it, this piece knows exactly where it has to fall so that I don't have to try to guess at how deep I need these. Now this will come together perfectly. All right. And as you can see, the 15/16 inch one, whoops, let me get this up here, will fit right inside of that 6-inch one. And that's what we do that for, is to make up that difference that has to be inside. So I'm just going to remove this tape. We're going to bring this up and this up. And the 15/16 will be inside of the 6-inch. You're going to roll that edge over. And then I just bring it in and I flatten it down and press really good. And do a little sort of like that. All right. Now that once that tape's already off, and again I want to make sure that my 15/16 is inside of my 6-inch. I'm going to bring that in, put it down, and then just press with my thumb really hard there. Okay. So now we're going to bring this in. And we're going to line that right up here. I'm going to snip that excess off of there. I've got a little bit of excess here. I'm just going to snip that off, get it out of my way. Just so my tape has good hold. Same on this end. There we go. All right, grab this back. And we're going to lay that right down there. Like so. We'll do the other one here. Like right down there. Okay. Sometimes it's easier to put these on when they're before you put them together, but that's all right, we'll work with it. I'm going to remove both pieces of tape. All right, we're going to bring that in, and remember the 15/16 has to be inside of your 6-inch one. Bring those corners together and fold over, turn it, and press down really hard. Okay, same thing here, 15/16 side inside of the 6-inch side. Bring those corners together, fold over, and press. You have just built a shadow box. And like I said, you can build these any size, but what I typically do is I'll cut my extra pieces and I'll add them to create strength inside too. So you'd run these inside, like up those things, and it just gives it more strength. One this size for what I'm going to use it for today. Once it's built, it's going to be built, so I'm not going to be messing with it. But so that's our shadow box. Now we're going to start putting together our little pieces that may take a little time to dry before we use them. Let me clear that out of the way. Here we go. So we are going to need, and you don't have to do this, but what I've done is I've taken a piece of my scrap white cardstock, and it was, I believe, it doesn't matter. You can start with whatever size you want. And this is a Martha Stewart punch, and I just punched out and gave myself over 6 inches long, and then I could choose where I wanted to cut off. This is going to fold over. So then what I did after I got this is I scored it at 3/4 of an inch on my scoreboard. And then I measured over from my score mark 1 3/4 of an inch. Okay? That's one of the things we have to have extra. The other thing is we're going to build our own snowman. Now he's got to be little because he's going in this shadow box. So what I used was This, I believe, is from the Dollar Tree. And there is, it's a bag, but I used the smallest one and the medium one, and I pre-glued the head to the other body just so it had time to glue, to stick. And then I just kind of filed off the bottom so it's flat so he can stand up. Now, let me get back out here. Oh, I guess we're all right. I think we're all right. So he's pre-glued together. We're going to make his little hat. And I mean, it's a little hat. It's a little snowman hat. So what I've done, and I will add the HTTP connection to my Cricut where I've created the hat pieces. So I'll just put that in the links of the video. So I will give you the link, but if you don't have a Cricut machine, what you can do is just cut out, these are 1 1/4 inch circles. And then the inside is 3/4 of an inch circle. So you cut a 1 1/4 inch circle, and then on the inside of that you would cut out a 3/4 inch circle. Okay? But if you have a Cricut machine, you can go right to My Design Space and do that. I've also cut a piece that is 3 inches long by 1 inch wide. And I want to show you something. So these are both the same. This piece of cardstock here, let me grab a piece. Cardstock always has a better direction. I mean, it's got, one way is easier to fold than the other. So if I try to bend this way, it wants to resist. When I bend it this way, it curves right away. And this one I cut the wrong way. I didn't pre-test it. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's like all broken. Yep, there it is. You can see all the cracks and stuff from me trying to bend it the wrong way. This one, on the other hand, is nice and smooth. So try to remember to check the direction your paper is going, and it will save you some headaches later on. So I just wanted to save that to show you because I made that mistake. Now with this piece, I'm just going to kind of pull it with my fingers, get it used to starting to bend. Just a little bit. And that's what I did to that other one, and then I went, oh, you didn't check your direction. So now I have this is a chalk marker here. And what I did was I tried to find something that will fit in here good enough. And I've got, I mean, there's a little bit of room here. So if you find something that you can use, this I'm going to use for my advantage. I have scored this on the 1 inch side at 1/4 of an inch. We're going to take our scissors and we're going to go up to that line, and we're going to just make little snips just to the line, all the way down. So this is going to take a second. And you want them kind of close together because this is small. And we will end up with a hat that is 3/4 of an inch tall. I don't know if I can see that. There we go. Try to get a better view of it. So we'll end up with a hat that's 3/4 of an inch tall. And you can do this same hat, just like the shadow box, any size you want. Okay? In fact, in the Cricut Design Space, there is the same one, but this is going to be the red colored one in the Design Space. The other one is for actually next week's project for another snowman we're doing, but he will also need a hat. So what you end up with is all these little teeth, okay? And I've just taken this and I've bent it to get those used to being bent up. We're going to take this, and they're good. Some of those teeth are going to end up on top of each other because we don't need it that big, but a little bit bigger just to make sure it has some stability. I'm going to take this, my pen, And I want to, whoops, I want my little feet here facing down towards the bottom. I'm going to line that up there. Oh, here. First we should put this on. Put that on. Bring this in. And we're going to roll this around. Match it up. And then we're going to bring this is going to be our brim to our hat. We're going to bring that right over top of that ring of paper. And then we can let it go, pretty much. I'm going to kind of hold my finger there, but we can, that rim will hold it. Now I want that right to the edge there. I'm going to take my pen, whoops, see, wasn't supposed to do that. And I want to be able to press that brim down pretty good. Just like that, okay? So I'm going to hold on to this. I'm going to pull this back just a little bit because I know that it's going to work. I'm going to run a bead of glue right along the bottom side of that brim. Nice bead of glue. And I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper. We're going to put this down, and then I'm going to bring that brim down and start pressing. Okay? Now I can already see that I've got a little bit of those feet that we cut. I can see them on the paper. I don't know if you can. Maybe if I bring this up here. Can you see just the little edges? Don't worry about that. We can trim them off. It's not a big deal. We just want to get this glued down good without gluing it to our other paper. There we go. And I did start to glue it down the paper. All right. I don't want to glue all over my mat because then it starts looking like it already is. Okay. So let's take that, and that's pretty dry. And we're just going to snip off those little pieces that are showing. And you could do it after, but I'm just going to do it now and get it taken care of. Okay, they're just little. All right. Now, if you're doing bigger ones, then you can make bigger. You can put your score line further back so that you have bigger feet to help. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this back a little bit, and I'm going to get some glue back in here to help hold that in place. And if you don't want a straight up hat, you could probably stretch that a little bit to give it a little bit of character, but then your little circle's not going to fit properly. So I'm just going to go straight up and down, but if you want to do it, and you just cut, then you have to cut a separate bigger circle. Right now with this one, you'll get the exact circle that you need for this hat that we're making. All right. Now we're going to put this back on our pin here, just to hold it. We're going to add our glue to the bottom of the rim we just glued on. And this is just going to give it that finished look. We're going to take this and we're going to lay it right on there. Just like that. Bring it in. Press it down. And I like to give it a good press. I want that to seal in there good. And that just finishes off that look. It doesn't have, you don't see all your little feet. Okay. Now for the hat top. You can pre-test it like that. Now I don't mind so much. It should be pretty close. But if it hangs over a little bit, I don't mind so much. It's not that big of a deal. But if you want to trim it off, you can. But this one is going to be really good. So I'm going to run a bead of glue right along. I have textured cardstock, so I want textured out. And I'm generous with the glue because I can't go back in and glue it. So if it drips down on the inside, I don't care. So I'm going to take my hat and I'm going to sit it right on that glue. just like that. Okay, so I just sat it right on top of there. And I really don't have that much excess, but I do want it centered so I don't have any holes in the top. I'm going to take my little needle here and I'm just going to remove that excess glue there. That might be visible. And we're going to set that aside. Now if you want to add the second circle for a little bit more stability, you can. I'm not going to. We're going to let that dry and then we'll finish decorating him in a minute. So I also had this little tiny lantern. It's plastic and it has a little hanger on the top. I cannot tell you where I got it. I cannot remember. It was in my stash. And what I've done is I've taken, whoops, let me cover my glue here. I've taken a, oh, we have a visitor. Gerda came to visit. I've taken it's a dowel, which you can use a regular dowel, but this one was just from one of those flags that you buy, the small flags, and the flag got damaged, so I keep the dowel. So that's what this is. I painted it black, and I just snipped it down with just some snippers that I had in my craft room. So I'm going to cut that little top piece off because I don't need a hanger on it. So I'm just going to remove that. There we go. So that lantern is ready. And I used E6000s to glue that. Now I have pipe cleaner. This is one came like this. And I wound it around here because I'm going to wind it around this post. But I had white and red that was separate. Gert, go lay down. And I wound that around myself. So I'm just gonna, and I pre-wound it just so I had it nice and thick, but I don't want it that tight on there. I want to be able to see some of the black. So I'm going to kind of stretch it out as I push it up there. Gerda, for those of you who don't know, is a 126-pound German Shepherd. She is a very good dog with the grandkids. And she's quite protective. So, and that's what she's for. She's our guard dog. Man, I don't even know if I want him that thick. Stretch it out more. Okay. I think like that. So I'm going to just snip these off. Okay. There we go. And just to decorate a little bit, that's all that's for. I was hoping I had some like more sparkly kind here already, but I don't. I don't. How did I do that? Oh, I'm not sure how I did that. Here we go. Maybe I should have just waited and wound it around when I had it here. There we go. And a little bit of the poles visible. Just like, you know, you see your city poles designed in the wintertime. Excuse me. I'm going to take a dab of hot glue and I'm just going to put it on there. Right on the bottom there to hold that. We're going to press that in place there. There we go. Just so it doesn't slide around later on. And the paper we're using today is an older pack of Cartabella. And it is this one. It's the Cartabella Snow Fun Collection Kit. Now this is a couple years old, but I have been hoarding it. I got it from Tamara at Country Craft Creations. Excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. It was one of her monthly boxes, and I've been hoarding it. And if I see any of it on sale or anything anywhere else, I buy it and I hoard that too. So this is like one of my favorites, but that's what we're going to be using today. All right, so now that's all set, so we can set that aside. I also took a skewer and just dipped it in orange paint to dry, and that's going to be our snowman's nose. So I believe our hat is probably dry. I'm just going to snip this back here. There goes my snowman's nose. And I don't see it. It went sailing across the room. All right. Oh, there it is. Oh, did you get lucky? I got lucky. All right. Don't know how I managed that. It flew way across the room. All right. So I'm going to pre-make a hole because I don't want to squish that in there. And that will go right in there like that. And because he's so small, I didn't know what else to do. So I'm going to just add a dab of hot glue onto this nose here. Just a tiny bit. I don't want it squeezing out all over, but I do want it to stay in there. All right. And for the eyes and the mouth, I don't have anything tiny, and the tinier you get, the harder it is to hold. So what I decided to do is take a permanent marker, and I tried it on the bottom, which is going to be glued in. I wanted to make sure it would work. So I'm just going to take the permanent marker, and I'm just going to press in a little bit on each side. And this seemed like the easiest way to do this. And then I'm just going to make a little mouth here. There we go. Now we can take a piece of this pipe cleaner that we got left. Let's do a red one. And we're going to just take that apart. And we can just wrap that around his neck and give it a twist so he has a little scarf here. Okay? And we're just going to snip that off. You can bend the scarf however you want. There. So our snowman, I believe, is ready. Oh, we got to glue his hat on. Oops, that was my other hat. So here's his little hat. And that is what it's going to look like. Isn't that cute? Just adorable, if I have to say so myself. With this, when I did this, you end up with all these cute little snowflakes. So I want to do some on his hat. So let's see here. You can see this one. I just put some on his hat. And I don't think this will go around his brim. Let's see if that'll fit around his brim. And I'll have to... Oh yeah, that might fit around his brim too. Let me get this bending here. We can get that bent and glue it to his brim. That would be nice. Otherwise you can get a piece of ribbon out, but since I've already got this sitting right here. Oh, look at that. It's going to be perfect. All right, so I'm just going to put a dab of hot glue on the back side there, where my seam is. Just a tiny bit. Okay. And then I'm going to bring this into it here on this side, and then this one into it on this side. And we're just going to hold that just a little bit. And it is just the tiniest amount of hot glue. But it's a tiny hat. Okay, there we go. So now we got that. And we should be able to just glue these on. So I'm just going to put, trying to remove the little fuzzies there, the front of my hat, and I'm just going to put dab of glue, dab of glue, dab of glue. We'll do 3 snowflakes here. So bring that, whoopsie, come here. And when they punch out, they actually punch, they have a natural little bend to them. So I use that to my advantage and put that facing up. And just using my little skewer there to press them into the glue. There. Now we can take him, and I think I'm going to do his hat just kind of cocked off to the side just a little bit. So I'm going to put some hot glue, oops, I'm caught there, on the inside of this rim here, where it can drip down on top of his head to hold that hat on. There we go. Okay. Try to avoid getting it. I got a little bit on that outside there. I don't want that. All right, so I'm gonna take it and I just want to press it on like that. And that, our snowman is done. Now I'll go back in a little bit later and trying to fix his eye, but I want that to sit up and dry. So we have our snowman, we have our lantern. What else? Okay, so for the base, I created, and I'll show you this. This is going to go, this is a Dollar Tree glass candle holder, and it's going to go like this on the bottom. And then this is just a wood, I guess it would be a candle cup from Hobby Lobby that I painted. And then this snowflake was just in my stash. I think it was like a little girl's ring or something, but it ended up in my stash. So we're going to have something like this. Okay, it's going to be like that. Let's decorate it. So what I did is I took gesso and I primed both of these pieces with gesso. Let that dry really good. I then painted with Waverly chalk agave paint, and I get this at Walmart, and you paint the whole thing. So that got agave. Then you let that dry. I then took my crackle medium and you paint that on, and when it's still tacky, then you put your top coat on, which I used Americana Decor Chalky Finish White. And what happens is the crackling happens on the white, so then your undercover shows through. So I'm going to show you how I did that with what we're going to use for next week's snowman project. Alrighty. So what I did is I primed this, it's just a canning jar ring. I primed that with gesso, and then I gave it 2 coats of red spice. Let them dry thoroughly between, and gave it 2 coats because that's my undercover color. Blah, blah, sorry. Now I'm going to take this crackle medium, and I want to do this together so that you can see exactly how it's done. And I'm just going to kind of hold my fingers inside there because I don't want to be all sticky. And it's kind of, it's a gel. And so you're going to just paint that on. Okay. And I typically put it in a bowl so that, or a little disposable cup, I shouldn't say a bowl, disposable, like little bathroom cup. Alright, so I'm just going to paint that on there. Give it a good coat. Make sure I got all my edges. Okay. Put the cap on that so I don't tip it over. Put my brush in there. I'm going to get another brush. And I'm going to sit this on this paper here a second. That needs to start tacking up just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Let me get another brush here. Okay. So now when this starts tacking up, I'm going to go in with my white. So I'm just going to set that aside a second and see what else we can do here. All right, I can go through the papers I used exactly while it's tacking up. So for this, I had one sheet of this, and I cut that down. And this is all I have left of that one sheet. It's just these few little pieces. I also used this one, which is Shimmering Snowflakes, and that's CBS F59004. And I used just 2 3/4-inch strips of this one. This one, like I said, I used almost the whole sheet except for what I have here in my hand. And the number on that one, because you might be able to just find these 2 sheets of paper, is CBS F59002. Again, it's the Cartabella Snow Fun paper collection. So that is the 2 sheets I used out of that pack. And trust me, it was hard to give that up. So I also used part of the sticker sheet. And I took this skating couple here because they're the same size as the one in the picture. The only difference is he's got brown pants. It's just different colors. And I took and I put it on one of these strips without the tape on. And I just took it and I lined it up and I put it back behind their feet. And then I glued it, I stuck it on there, and then I just fussy cut that part out. I also took another piece of cardstock and I made it into a Z. Now, when I put this in the shadow box, this can be like popped out and that will stand up because of that Z. So that's what I did with that piece of sticker sheet. I also am going to use the winter one. And on all of them I put a little bit of cornstarch on the back to take away the sticky. I don't want them sticky because I don't want things, dust and stuff together on it. I also pulled the little puppy off of there and put a little cornstarch on the back of him. And I don't know if I'll use more stickers. I don't think I will, but I do have it handy in case I decide to. I think, well, is that tacking up? Okay, I'm going to grab this now. And I usually have paper down. Whoops. And it's sticky. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to grab it like that. Actually, I want to be on the inside here. There we go. Alright, now I'm just going to take my paint and I'm going to start painting that right over top. And it's still wet. It's sticky, but it's still wet. It has to be still wet in order to do the crackling. So just get that on there. And as it starts to dry, it'll start to crack. And I'm just trying to get an even coat here. Alright, and then we're just going to do the top of the rim because I also put crackle medium on top of there. Alright. Now we'll set, and you can see, you can already see it start to crack there. Can you, I don't know if you can see that or not. But it is starting to crack already. Alright, so let's set that aside and then I'll grab it in a couple minutes and show you the result. But that's how you use crackle medium. Put this brush in the water and get these items out of the way. Alright. Wipe my fingers. Now I'm going to have a little paint on my fingers for the rest of the video, but that's alright. A little paint ain't going to kill me. At least not that kind of paint, right? Alright. So, I also have out some Snow-tex. It's by Deco Art, and it's kind of, I'm going to use a spatula. It's kind of gritty, and if you get Snow-tex and it sits and it starts to get hard, Just take some of your, what's it called? Mod Podge. And dump some in there and just start stirring it up, because this was getting more solid. This was a brand new one. I had the other one for so long, but by the time I opened this one, it had started setting up a little hard. So I mixed it with some Mod Podge, and it thinned right back out. What else do I have that I need to show you? I think that's it. Oh, here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Look at that. Can you see that? Let me put it on something dark. Let me give it a black piece here. Here we go. Alright, let me slide it off onto that. I don't know if that's better or not. I don't know if you can see that crackling. But it is starting to crackle. So hopefully you can see that. Oops, I touched that. We'll check it again at the end of the video, see if it's dry. I'm gonna set it, actually I'll set it down by the register here. It'll dry faster. There we go. Okay. Alright. So let's start assembling our box. I think we are pretty good to go. I think we can start assembling now. Alright. So now I have cut these down just under 6 by 6, and I just kept test fitting it until I had the right size. This is the one that's going to be our base, so we're going to glue that in first. I'm just going to use my art glitter glue, and I'm just going to give that a good amount. And this is still out there a little bit. I don't know how hard it's getting to find this paper, but I still find it here and there. I find parts of it, brads or whatever. So I just keep adding to my collection. All right, so that's our base. Now for the top inside, and you can see it's just out of my stash. It's just scrap. It's just a kind of a faint blue. One for the sky. I didn't want trees or anything in there, and I forgot to do that to this one, but I'm gonna take, and this is antique linen, and I'm just gonna smudge the edges. And of course I didn't do it on that bottom piece, but hopefully it won't be noticeable because there's going to be enough other things going on. Yeah, hopefully they'll cover it up. So let's glue our top piece in here. Whoops, let me put this on the back. All right, so we're just going to slide that in there, just like that. We might have to, let me see here. I think we're going to have to paint that edge a little white there. I did one earlier, and I goofed up, so I had to start over again. So let's just give that edge just a little bit of paint there without trying to make a mess all over everything else. Just that edge. I'm not worried about anything else here. And then that can kind of dry while we're finishing up here. And you'll run into things like this. Sometimes it's like, oh, I should have done that. Well, then just stop and do it. Because once I get this all my paper on the outside, then I don't, and on the inside, I don't want to try to go back and do this. So we're just going to do it now. It shouldn't take very long to dry, and while it's drying we can put our other pieces on. We'll just be careful. These things happen when you're crafting sometimes, and you can't panic. You just, all right, what can I do to solve the problem? That's what you got to do. And sometimes there might not be a solution, but sometimes you can change things up a little bit and and not be too far off course. So there we go. All right, we're gonna kind of let that set up a little bit. Get this paint out of our way. So now we got it's a very faint blue for the sky. It almost reminds me kind of a very faint periwinkle. And I want to get all my papers in before I'm not going to put anything on this bottom because we're going to do the Snow-tex there. That's where our snow is going to be. So I'm not worried about that. And I pre-cut this part of the one, and that's going to go on our left side here, just like that. Like I said, these are cut just a little smaller than the inside. And what I do is I just cut a little bit at a time. If it's too big, I just shave off a little and just keep test fitting. And that's what you want to do. I can't give you exact measurements for these because if your box is just slightly different than mine, then that's going to affect that. So, in fact, I'm going to pull that back out because it's just a little too wide. So we're going to go in here. I'll get a little glue on my trimmer, but I'm going to go in here and I'm going to trim that down just a tiny bit. I thought I test fit it, but apparently I didn't test fit it right. Oh, I know, I did test fit it, but it was the black box. It wasn't the white one because the white one was not built. So there is the difference. See, perfect example. There we go. So now we can just press that in there. Might need a little bit more glue here. Let's grab just a little bit more glue. Part of it's sticking, but part of it is not. Oh, it is sticking. I stand corrected. I'm going to finish pressing that in there. I know that's kind of hard to see when I've got that up like that for you to see. But I'm just pressing that in there. There we go. Back in frame. All right, perfect. And now before I put glue on this one, we'll test fit it. Because this was also, and yep, see? So it's just off just that tiny bit. But again, this was measured with the black one, because that was the one I had built. I'm just going to take just a tiny piece off of there. Okay, yeah. And we'll test fit it again. And we're still a little off. And this is how you do it until you get the exact amount you need. Because even though you might build the same box again, you might have the same problem I am having right now. So you just cut and test fit. Cut. There. Now I think we're perfect. I think we're pretty good. Maybe just a little tiny bit on that one edge there for some reason. It's a little off there. There we go. All right. And I hope you try to build up your own little shadow boxes. You can build multiple ones and kind of link them together like little building blocks and make something out of it that way. Okay, there we go. All right. So far we got our bottom, our top, the little guy with the snowman there, and more ice skaters. All right. So now let's glue our couple in because I need to know where they're going to be. And so they're going to get glued just like that, if you can see that. Just give him some 3D, and I know his pants are a different color, but I still think it's going to be all right. So I'm going to bend these like that. I'll put some glue here. Now this little tab that I'm going to glue to the bottom, that's going to be covered with Snow-tex. So I'm going to get this lined up here like that. And I want to reach in there with, actually let me glue this down first. I'm going to get that set in there first. Press it, press it, press it, press it, press it. There we go. All right, now we can go in with this one. And I'm going to need to see it from the side. I don't know if you can see in there or not. You can see the little, yep, right there. See that little white tab? And I'm going to try to press that down. There we go. We're just going to let that dry. Oops, we're off just a tad. A little bit. Okay, let's go back in. Press that back down there. Okay. All right, so now, as you can see, so when it stands up, see? Gives it some dimension. Now the little puppy, I think I'm going to hot glue him, stick his feet in hot glue, and then the Snow-tex will go around him too. So I'm going to wait until I get some of my Snow-tex in, so I'm not trying to work around the back side of him. We also have our snowman, and he's all dry now. So let me see if I can fix his little eye here. I see just a little dab of white there. I just want to kind of fix that. Not bad. It gives a little twinkle in his eye. So we're going to take this little guy and we're going to put him up front because he's big and we want him up front so it looks like he falls in line with size for the people. Like they built a whole big snowman there. Okay? And he's going to go back like this. So I'm going to hot glue him on. Keep getting caught. So I'm going to put a good dab of glue there. And these don't seem to melt away with the hot glue, which is good. There we go. And I'm just kind of holding them in place. And there he is. Okay. And even though, you know, your sizes might not be exactly right proportioned, it's okay. It's just to be cute. There we go. And we have our post here too. So I'm going to start getting some of our Snow-tex in the back there. So we're not trying to reach around everything. And we'll use whatever tools we have to try to get this. Oh, yep, see, and it's like, it's still kind of stiff. So I'm going to add some more Mod Podge to it. Alrighty. Here we go. I'm going to just show you exactly how I do this. So I'm just going to pour some of this in there, like that. Because this was a brand new container, I refused to want to throw it away. So I'm just going to kind of mix that in there a little bit. But as you can see how kind of that got hard? And it's supposed to be a little bit softer. So when you mix it though, you want to make sure that you mix it pretty good because you don't want big chunks in there, especially if you're doing more detailed work with it. I'm going to be doing not so much detail, so I think I'll be good, but if you're running it along the edges of things and stuff like that, see how much nicer that's folding together now? Alright, let's start with that. And we're just going to plaster that down in there. And this doesn't take too long to dry. It's not too bad. Alright. And I didn't put anything on the snowman because he's already kind of sparkly, just the type of styrofoam it is. He's already kind of sparkly. So, and I want to bring this up to her skates and then lower on his skates. There we go. Like that. Now for part of this I want it more flat. I don't need it extremely thick. when I come up to the snowman, I want to, whoops, get a little bit thicker. Bring it up around under his snow body there. And I'm going to use something else to get in the behind there. I'm just going to kind of press that, let it squeeze out a little bit. There we go. And this little boy here. Okay, and the nice thing about this is you can kind of give it a little texture. Alright, so we got to figure out something to get in the back there. Let me set this here. Look at my tools here and see what I got. Oh yeah, here we go. So this is just a tool you would use in doing ceramics. But it's got a nice little edge on it, so I'm going to grab some of this and I'm just going to kind of bring it down in there. And use that to kind of press that back in there. And this cleans up pretty easy. It just kind of wipes right off or washes off. Alright, so I got that, but I want to get further in there. So let me see here. I had maybe a skewer. Let me see if I can get a skewer back in there. Alright. So bring that in, and I'm just going to push that back in there. And as long as it gets back in there to cover where I can't see it, that's all I need. Then we're going to get this, and we're going to come in this side and do the same thing. Get right back in there. Push it around. There we go. Whoops, now I got snow on the snowman. Ha ha ha. Alright. Alright, so we got that. Now we're going to have to move some little pieces away so we can glue down like our dog and stuff. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to scrape away a little bit because I want to put hot glue and then I'm going to cover that back up. So I'm going to bring this in here just like that. Can you see that? Okay. And there's my dog. There's my dog. All right, just make sure I have enough room. And like I said, I'm just going to use the hot glue to glue his feet down. I need a little bit more room there. And then we'll move that Snow-tex back in there. Okay? Move that off the side so you can see. Okay. I'm going to put a bead of glue in there. Just like that. Hopefully you can see. And I'm going to stand his feet up in there. Let that set up and dry. He's stuck to my finger. Come on, puppy. Okay, I'm just going to have to hold him there a second just until that sets up. And then we'll move the snow back in. Okay. Okay, he's starting to set up, so just gonna, and then the snow, once the snow gets back around there, that will also help hold him up. So I'm going to bring this back and put it around his feet like it was before. Whoops, I'm sorry. You can't even see. I'm holding it the wrong way. There you go. Trying to get it off of there so I can put it back behind his feet there. There we go. You can always add a little bit more if you need to. Just grab another little scoop here. And I'm just pressing it in between his feet. There. So that's what we got so far. I don't know if you can see that. Very good. Do you see the dimension? Alright, so I'm going to kind of smooth that out a little bit. All right, we're covered pretty good. There we go. Now we're going to do the same thing for our light here. And I think I'm going to put that right about in here, our light post. I don't know if I want it like that or on an angle. I think on a... All right, so I'm going to scrape away a piece here. Good sized piece. That's going to take a little bit more than the dog did. I'm going to put a good dab of glue there, just like that. And we're going to stick this in there. And I'm going to, I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm going to try to hold it so you can see it. Just like that. And I'm just holding that in that glue until that starts setting up. I'm going to have to stand it this way though. I'm sorry you can't see. But I want to make sure I've got that up and down. We're just going to let that set up. You can see it? Oops. No, you can't yet. It's still drying. Press it in there. All right, we're going to let that set up a little bit here. And I'll slowly start pressing that. Get that snow back over there. We want to make sure that our snow covers up that glue all the way around. And I wish I could remember where I got those little lights from. I didn't even know I had them. I was looking for different things to use on this project, and I'm like, seen them in my stash and was very surprised myself. So. But for the life of me, I can't remember where I got them, so I apologize for that. I usually try to at least give you a hint where you can find it. Okay, I think it's going to stand up now. See? Looks pretty good. All right, I think we can start doing the rest of the decorations now. Okay. All right. Now I did pull this as just pillow batting, and I thought about using that as snow, but I didn't like the way it was looking, and I thought it's going to be hard to glue down, so I decided not to go that route, and I cannot find my pin. All right, move the glue out of the way here. So now for this piece, I'm going to put it on here. Like I said, I've already scored it, so it's 1 3/4, so it's going to fit across that top perfect. And I'm just going to mark with my pencil. I'm going to do a light mark, and then we can trim that off here. All right, so line you up. There you go. I just thought this would be cute hanging over that edge. There we go. I'm going to give that a good amount of glue here. And we're going to lay that on there. Push it back, center it. I'm actually going to go like this. Press it down. And I believe I want to get a little bit of glue on this lip here, because I want that to stay down. I want this to stay down like that. So there we go. I think that should hold it now. All right. Now for our winter words, oh, that looks like it's, yeah, I think it'll be all right. I wanted to run that from here over to here, just like that. And I think we're okay. Let's put on our side pieces and our back piece before we get too much further. So the top is fine. And let's see, this is our, oh, I gotta retry it because it might do the same thing our other one did. Oh, I think we're gonna be all right. Good. And that is probably because it's the outside measurement, not the inside measurement. So we're going to go just like that. Press it on there. Okay, I'm going to go to this side. Do the same thing. And the back of that paper is pretty too, that stripe with the little the stars. Isn't that funny how sometimes your brain forms words that you have no idea where it came from? Okay, and we're going to do the bottom. I might have to pull that. No, I think it'll be all right. I might have to pull that. And these are all the same. It's just the snowflakes. And I did cut one for the top. And we can look at maybe putting it on there. Let's see what I think here. See what it looks like when I'm done here. This one. All right. So let's see what we think. Do we want that on there? Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Just to make them all the same. All right. And I thought the snowflake pattern would be good because it doesn't really matter which direction it's facing. So I thought that would look good. All right, so we've got our inside, we've got our 3 panels. Make sure that's glued on there. And then this is our back piece here. There's my pin. This is the one I thought would be pretty on the back. And you could use just plain cardstock on the back too if you didn't want to use decorative. I don't know where this is going to end up setting in my decor. So I wanted a finished back on it. Just in case it's on like a coffee table or a end table or something, or then it's finished. Want to make sure we're got her up. There we go. All right, perfect. Now we can add some glue to that, a little glue to that, where it's going to hit. And I want this down in here. I don't want it to hang too low because I want the seam to show. Alright, so we got that. And I do have some snowballs here that I thought could be stacked up, but I'm not going to do that because it's different, too much of a different white. Alright, what else do I got? Was there anything else I got? Oh, I had these little ice skates. These are Tim Holtz ice skates. Oops, I am sorry. And this is just baker's twine. And I glued the ends so it would thread better. And I thought about just hanging these on the side as a charm. But let me see what it looks like. All right. Pair of ice skates I thought looked cute. down there. And I probably should have done that prior to gluing that down. I think we're going to wait on that. We'll use those for another project. I did see this, and I thought about this along the edge. That might be pretty, but then it kind of covers up our snow there. I kind of like it. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. All right. Let's cover this glue now that I found the pin. And we'll bring our hot glue in. I'm going to pull this out, make sure I have enough so I'm not struggling with it. Get all this other stuff out of our way. There we go. All right. Oopsie. So I'm going to bring a bead of glue right along here, just a small bead. Okay. And then we're going to find what's going to be best for our side there. I'm going to kind of, whoopsie, not that, apparently. And we're just going to bring this in and put it down there. Set it right in there. Let it tack up. Okay. And we're going to do the same on this edge here. Just a bead. I don't want it to drip over my edge. Press that in there. Kind of reminds me of those little vintage boxes that they used to sell years ago. Okay. I think after this we can attach our stand. Now you could do the stand any color you wanted. You could actually purchase a wooden one. Just happened to have access to the Dollar Tree one, and so that's what I decided to use. All right, so let's just do our last bead of glue here. And if you didn't want to make a box, you don't have to, but you did learn how to make some other things that might come in handy at another time. Yeah. There we go. All right. So now we've got this, and I think, let me see here. See my best side here that's got the most crackle. Yeah, I think that right there. I think I want that one as my front. All right. And we're going to use quite a bit of hot glue on here. So I'm going to really pour it on. So I want it to hold. And if this doesn't work, then I will go back and do a E6000 glue. I think I just stuck my finger in the snow. And I'm trying to line this up along the back here and trying to make it look centered. Looks pretty good. And I did stick my finger in snow. I'm trying to press that down. I can press along the back there. All right. And now the finial. And I E6000 that snowflake in there too. So we want to get the finial in the center. And once we got this all in there, then I will And I'm going to fill that hole there so it can drip back down. And let's see here, where are we at? Does that look like the center? Center the center? All right, let those tack up a second. In the meantime, let me grab that top back. Oopsie. And you can see the crackle now. See? It's all perfectly dry, and it just crackled. Just enough. Now this will get covered partially, so I'm not too worried about not a lot of red showing. But yeah, so that's how that turned out. And that will be part of week 9. So, all right. Move this out of the way. And I'm going to tip this. And I think it's going to stick together so you can see the whole thing. Let me zoom out here so you can see it a little better. There we go. Whoopsie. Actually, let me move this pad. It might be even easier. Oops, you're still trying to dry, aren't you? Okay, let me move this. And I think you'll be able to see it better. There we go. Keep touching snow. Got snow all over. All right. Now I can probably zoom in a little bit. So there we go. That's our finished project. Got a lot of nice dimension. Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. And if you like my videos, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. And if you do decide to subscribe, please hit that bell so you can be notified when I do another video. And a thumbs up if you like my video is always appreciated. And until the next time I see you, I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.